A story that's got everyone talking, but will it be this summer's transfer saga? Newcastle have rejected a bid from Arsenal for their captain, Bruno Guimaraes. After weeks of speculation surrounding his future, the clubs are now in direct contact about a deal. And Arsenal are now discussing internally whether to return with a second bid for the 28-year-old, who has 2 years left, and an option for a third on his current contract at Newcastle. Well, he has joined up with the Newcastle squad at their pre-season training camp in Spain, which he confirmed by posting this picture on Instagram. Last night, incoming Newcastle head coach Matthias Jaisler is there to take charge after Eddie Howe's departure last week. Right, good morning to Charlie Austin. Right, so their first bid has been rejected by Newcastle. Do Arsenal really need him? Or would this be an unnecessary luxury, which could be an expensive one as well?
You can say unnecessary luxury, however you want to put it, but I would prefer them to take that. I think Arsenal will take him because he can replace Zubimendi. Miles Skelly was in there, and all of a sudden, if he goes in, that's an upgrade for them. So I see Arsenal going back with a second bid. You can't imagine them making one bid and then just turning away and going away from it. However, from a Newcastle perspective, you want this deal to be done because you can't allow what happened last summer to go on again.
Well, we'll get to the Newcastle side in a moment, but with this being a central midfielder potentially for Arsenal, is that the area of the pitch that they really need to spend their money on?
No, because they need a left-sided player. Left-sided forward, so you can see why the Vinicius stuff is coming out. I would just see them as needing strength and depth all over the pitch because ultimately, when you are top, when you've won the league like they did, as Sir Alex Ferguson always said, you've got to improve the squad when you're on top. So this proves that why Arsenal were going for a player like Bruno, and also why they are linked with Vinicius Jr. Whether they get him or not, it shows their intent of what they're trying to do. Yeah,
and in terms of the fee, he's 28. He'll be 29 in November. What is a good price for Arsenal to get him for? What is he worth? Because we know, I mean, he's Newcastle captain. I think he's their best player.
Yeah, but I don't think
he probably is their best player, especially with some of them already gone. So how much should he cost, given that there isn't the massive resale value there would be if he was 24?
I think it's down to what the club wants to pay now, because we can talk about transfer, how much he's going to cost, how much is he worth, etc. We look at the prices that the two English lads have gone for, over 100+ million. Yes, I understand the age.
Anderson and Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, I understand the age and all that kind of stuff, but it's ultimately what Arsenal want to pay. If their first bid is coming what it is and they've been rejected, that was always going to happen. Now they know they've got up their bid, and I think they will. If you're looking in between 80 and 90 million, that's what I think. And then I get we talk about the resale value. There's none of that on there because of his age. But if he's going to cement Arsenal winning the title for the next 2-3 years, then they're going to do it.
So you think he's worth 80 to 90? That's how much that you would pay. And what do you think Newcastle would think about that fee if it's between 80 and 90, let's say 85 million pounds. That's good business. So they would take it, do you think?
I think that's good business. I really do, because you think about it, it's a player that, I'd say clearly doesn't want to be there, had his head turned about going elsewhere. The majority of his teammates that was there and helped Newcastle get to the Champions League have now moved on to bigger and better things. So why should he be left on his own almost? And you need to remember also, Eddie Howe was the man who made him the captain, put all the trust into him, and he's gone. So again, why would he be the last domino? Put it this way, as a Liverpool fan, I would have him at my club.
Right. If he goes to Arsenal, though, all right, because they're the ones who want him, you put him in midfield, like you say, with Declan Rice. With Declan Rice, it was often said, you don't want him to be the deeper one because you need him to have a little bit more freedom because of how good he is. But that was the same at Newcastle. They didn't want Bruno Guimaraes to be the deepest midfielder because of what he could provide next to a deeper midfielder. But that would be two of them together with the same issue.
And so why do we overcomplicate it? Why do we not just go one goes forward, one stays? You know you've got the cover. One can go forward, one can...
Well, it used to be like that, but football's changed.
Yeah, of course, but if you've got the two, but if you've got the two in there and that's the situation, well, one just goes forward. When the ball's on the right-hand side, he moves out of position, he comes back round. Like, this is the problem with football now. Everyone wants to try and overcomplicate it. He's a top-quality player, and he is going to make Arsenal better. I don't see Arsenal not signing him. I really don't.
But they're both clever enough to do what you're suggesting. There's no doubt about that. If they sign him, are they clear title
They are
favourites?
anyway, Tom, let's be honest, they are. They are now. You can look at it. Man City, new manager. Manchester United, Michael Carrick's come in, yes, newly appointed manager, but have got to deal with European football. Chelsea, new manager. Liverpool, new manager. So they're clear favourites anyway, in my eyes.
So we said that we get onto the Newcastle side of things. You've said the fee that you think would be good for all parties here, but you've also mentioned that you can't have another Alexander Isak situation. These situations are different in various ways, but in terms of how long this drags out, how bad would that be for Newcastle? And should they just say to Arsenal, right, this is the price, give us it now? We
can say that it's not the same, but there's every chance it could be, because this could be dragged out right up until the start of the, season.
I mean,
I know, but
Isak wasn't even training with Newcastle,
he wasn't,
was he?
But he's the club captain. And he was always going to... Listen, he's highly regarded with all Newcastle fans. They love him. They'd be so sad to see him go. They really would. He deserves to be playing Champions League football. And moving to Arsenal, that allows him to do that. Newcastle are clearly going in a different direction now. They've moved on from Eddie Howe. New manager's going to come in. They haven't got European football. They've got this new rebuild situation where they're saying they're only going to sign younger players and they're going to buy players up to about 40 million, 40, 50 million. You've got to give him a bit of respect and say, do you know what, you deserve better.
What do you think would happen then if Newcastle say, Arsenal aren't giving us the fee we want, so you're staying? You've got 2 years plus another one on your contract.
Well, I don't know his character. I can only see his character on the pitch and what you hear from Newcastle fans. But he's the club captain, and to down tools as such, as a club captain, that will just show how he is and how he feels towards the club. But as I see it now, he's got a lot of affection for the football club. However, that won't stop him trying to progress his career, and that's what he wants to do, going to Arsenal. Why wouldn't you want to go to Arsenal from Newcastle? You don't have Champions League football, and you're not near the top four competing. They're not going to compete for the title next year, but you go to Arsenal and be in every competition competing, and you're there to try and retain the title.
And he'd be starting at both, so it's not like he's going to a...
No, exactly, that's what I mean.
Sit on the bench. Have you been in a situation like this where you have wanted to go, but the clubs can't, at this stage, as yet, agree a fee?
Only once, and then I kind of, not backfired, but I failed medical, obviously, when I went to Hull. And then I trained throughout pre-season with Sean Dyche and then managed to move to the end. But the deal always comes around. The clubs continue to do it. I think Bruno, the biggest thing I think of it all, Bruno would have seen what happened to Alexander Isak last year when he downed tools, refused to train, etc., and he had a very slow start to his Liverpool career. Yes, you talk about the injuries, but he didn't hit the heights of what he did at Newcastle, and I do believe that is because if you don't have a good pre-season, it does affect you going into the season already, because you are playing catch-up from the get-go.
Yeah, I suppose he's had a World Cup, and now he is actually part of the pre-season training as well. Loads of people having their say on this, and that's what we want from you all watching at home. By the way, Max says, I do not think Arsenal need him because they've already got Rice and Zubimendi. However, I think that they will get him, which is kind of what you've been saying, Charlie.
Yeah, of course, but you say they don't need him because they already have Rice and Zubimendi, but isn't it about when you're on top, you need to strengthen your squad? I know you're saying that they will get him, however, but I think he comes in and he starts. He plays instead of Zubimendi for me. And like I said, they're both clever enough, him and Rice, to cover each other when one goes forward and one stays.
Louis agrees with the last message, actually saying Bruno Guimaraes would be unnecessary because Arsenal have too many good midfielders not playing, because you've also got Miles Lewis Skelly there as well, who started towards the end of last season in central midfield rather than at left back.
You can't, Tom, adding to that, you can't tell me you're not taking him in that midfield group over and adding to the selection you've got there. Miles Lewis, you're playing Bruno over him in that midfield. He's taken you there. They controlled games last year, and we all watched them play. He's making sure they control games and push higher up the pitch. For me, I just think it's a no-brainer for Arsenal to get the fee done and get him over the line.
Well, George says that he would be a good signing, though. Bruno Guimaraes is needed at Arsenal. Mikel Merino as well. Yep. Zubimendi and Rice are all coming back late from the World Cup, and Guimaraes is obviously an upgrade. So everybody seems to be saying, yes, this would be a good signing for Arsenal. It's just whether or not. I think maybe a lot of people might be thinking that their money might be better spent elsewhere on the pitch, as opposed to the fact that he's not an excellent player who would play for them.
Of course, and you can say the position they're on about is the left forward position. Hence why, like I said, they're in talks or whatever it is, if it's nonsense with Vinicius Jr. But why can't they go and get both? You are the Premier League champions. You've just been beaten in the Champions League final. Now you want to win the Champions League. Now you want to win the Premier League again. You need squad, in depth of squad with quality players. Now, I'm not saying Arsenal don't have quality players all over, but there's definitely room for improvement.
Back-to-back titles for Arsenal. Can you remember the last time? Give me the decade that they last got back-to-back titles.
90s? 2000s? They haven't?
30s.
May?
1930s.
Oh,
okay?
wow.
So maybe they do need them. From the Newcastle point of view again, we've said that we don't know how he'll react to this bid being rejected. He is there, he is training. By all accounts, he is being professional. What if that changes? What if he does try to force a move? First of all, what can he do to force a move? And two, would that work in terms of
time, yes.
Getting him out? In
time, yes. Closer to it, it will work. If the player wants to move, that they move. The player wins.
Okay, but how do they do that?
Unfortunately, you end up down in tools and turning what you've done and built your reputation up so high with the fan base, everyone at the club, and then all of a sudden you end up having to be the bad guy to force a move, and nobody wants that because it doesn't work out. It doesn't. It's not a nice way to go. It really isn't. But he's done the best thing. Turn up on pre-season. Everybody expect him to be there. Now, if he was that type of character to force his way out early doors, he wouldn't have gone. He wouldn't have gone. He just said, no, I missed my flight, I'm not going. Because we all knew that he had got given an extra day off. And then we thought, do you know what, he's going to stay at home. But he ain't. He's gone there. And he knows what he needs to do. Like I say, he'll be looking back at the Alexander Isak's situation and how he went into the season by not having a pre-season. He won't want that to happen to him.
Can Newcastle not stand firm, though? They've lost Gordon.
Why? What power have they got?
Well, they've lost...
No, what power have they got? Listen, I get they've got the rich...
But they've got power that he's got 2... But he's effectively got 3 years left in his deal.
They're basically going to get 80 to 90 million
pounds. But that's the power that they've got. That he'll still be worth that next season.
Are they trying to go in a different direction now? Are you holding back the player? But the progression is there for him to go.
Tonali, they've lost Gordon and they've lost their manager.
Did they fight to keep Tonali? Did they fight to keep Gordon? Did they fight to keep Eddie Howe there? Because we all talk about Eddie Howe going and you're looking at, did they really want him in there? Did they really want him to progress? Or was he actually looking at it and going, do you know what? I look at this squad and I don't think it's going to be as strong as I had it a couple of years ago. And that's what I truly believe. Hence why he's the last domino and that's why I think he wants to go and I think he will end up at North London.
Right, well, this one would send shockwaves through the Premier League. But will Arsenal, or should they, break the bank to sign Vinicius Jr if he turns down a new deal at Real Madrid? We'll be getting the thoughts of Charlie in a few minutes and have your say as well. We've been talking about Arsenal with Bruno Guimaraes, but they're also monitoring the situation around Vinicius Jr.'s contract with Real Madrid this summer. The winger has reported back for Real Madrid following his post-World Cup break. Real posted videos of Vinicius returning to training yesterday alongside new signing Bernardo Silva for his first session under new boss Jose Mourinho. Vinicius has entered the final year of his contract, but Real Madrid have no intention of selling the winger and are confident he will agree a new deal. Right, Charlie, should Arsenal break the bank to sign him? I don't mean in terms of transfer fee, I mean in terms of wages.
I think if they sign him, it'd be phenomenal, right? It really would for the Premier League, for the football club. Everybody associated with football in England would love to see a player like that at the Premier League. Arsenal's the best league in the world, right? So you want to attract the best players. However, I really think it could blow up the structure at Arsenal. I don't think it would be the look or the way Arsenal have been over the last 4, 5, 6 years that we all criticised and how they've managed to build themselves in that position to then bring a player like that in and the structure just be blown out the water. I really don't, because you imagine the players that's there now that won the title, Rice, Saka, etc. And I'm saying, yes, you've got to get upgrades and all that in to be strong. But do you really... He's not coming cheap, is he? Like, he's going to be earning nearly 2.5 times more than Declan Rice.
So in terms of... I was going to ask you about what kind of statement it would send to their rivals if they sign him, but it sounds like what you're saying is the statement to the current players would be, well, you get what you're given.
Yeah, but I think...
Could that cause a problem?
You'd know that from within the group, right? You'd know that within the group. You know he's not coming cheap.
If he gets double what Declan Rice is on, and this is hypothetical, Declan Rice is told, "Nah, you're on enough. We're not giving you any more." Saka, you're on enough. We're not giving you any more. The players, etc., etc.
Yeah, the players know he's not coming cheap, though, Tom. That's it. That's the situation. They know he's not coming cheap, and it's one of them where you either going to, as a group, you're going to be like, "It's Vinicius Jr." Yeah, or you're going to be like, "I'm not sure. I want more of this pie. I want to be more on the money train." That's what I would be. And that's how footballers think, regardless how fans expect it.
Money train?
Yeah, money train. Everyone wants to get hold of it.
Is that an inside football
Everyone wants to jump on the football train.
The money
train. But listen, I think the issue is, if he comes to the Premier League, comes to Arsenal, I think it will frighten the majority of the Premier League. It really would. But I think it could cause more harm than good for Arsenal Football Club. I really do.
In terms of the position on the pitch, you said at the start you think they need someone to play on that left-hand side. You've also talked about Bruno Guimaraes as well. Is there any other position that Arsenal are missing right now?
I'm going to say both of their... I'm going to go out and say both of their both sides. Both of their forward... wide side, left and the right-hand side.
Right wing, we're right. Yeah, but Saka and Madueke.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not... Listen, Saka had his injury stuff and then they come in and out of forward. Madueke, just for me, I don't know. I'm not sure on him. Left side is predominantly where they definitely need, and they've got the player up in...
They've got Solis, who they brought in, and they've got Martinelli. Yeah, because they've sold Trossard.
The left-hand... Yeah, but is that left-hand side someone that's real scares the Premier League? Scares Man City, scares Man United, Liverpool? I don't think so. Not over 38. I don't think so. That's where they need to strengthen also, is on that left-hand side. But I'll be looking at their attacking areas.
Striker?
Yeah, but not just a striker. Their attacking line, whether they're playing three up there, one, whatever it is. Their back line is solid. We all know that. I think that's why probably they didn't go for John Stones, or John Stones didn't choose them, because he would have known when Saliba comes back, he would be out and have minimal game time. So for me, the top end of the pitch is where they should be looking to strengthen also.
So, because up front at the moment, there's Gyökeres, who came good last season.
Havertz.
That's fair to say. Havertz.
And they've got Jesus. He's out of favour. He's third choice. Jesus, you'd say. He's more likely to be third choice. And do I see him being still at Arsenal when the season comes? I wouldn't be surprised if someone come and took him from abroad.
Right. Let's say Mikel Arteta is told financially you can only sign Vinicius Jr. or Bruno Guimaraes. OK? One or the other. Different positions. Which one would you go for?
You can only choose one, but with no effects to the dressing room, or is that...
You can take the question as you wish, Charlie.
OK, well, I'm signing Vinicius Jr. because I would sign Vinicius Jr. If he decides to sign him, he knows he's got the strength and the backing of every player that's in the dressing room to bring in someone like him and it not cause a problem within the dressing room. And that's the most important thing, because that dressing room and their team looks so together. And they're defending champions. They want to go and regain the title. Like you said, we're talking going back to the 30s when they've won it back-to-back. They want to do that again. They're clear favourites now to go on and win it this year. So if he signs Vinicius Jr, then there's trouble for everyone.
Well, Daniel says Arsenal need to act like the best team in the world if we want to be the best, sign the best players. Bruno is one of the best in his position in the league, and Vini is arguably the best left winger in the world. So Daniel's basically saying, get it done. Mandy, she's been in touch saying, as an Arsenal fan, I think we should sign Vini Jr. No, I don't think we should sign Vini Jr. Important word that I missed out there. It could compromise our club financially. And to be honest, I think he's just using our club to gain leverage for a better contract at Madrid. Quite a few people have been saying something similar to Mandy there, so good point. And Josh has said Arsenal should sign Vini Jr. They've been missing the superstar forward for 15 plus years now, and he's an upgrade on Martinelli. Right, keep your opinions coming in. Don't go anywhere, because it's another summer of change at Chelsea as the Xabi Alonso era gathers momentum. We're talking about their squad size.